I'm going to be rating the Beyblade Burst seasons from my least favorite to my favorite. These will be the English dub seasons, and I'm going to be saying what I liked about them and what I didn't like about them. You know, just like a whole review of the season, like a quick review. And before I start, note that they are very close. I liked all the seasons for some different reasons. They were all awesome. So this was very hard to do. And if you don't agree with me, you probably won't. Because I know the most popular season is not number one. I'll tell you that. Spoilers. Anyway, let's get into it. In 6th place, this one might surprise you, but it would have to be Beyblade Burst Surge. I know. I thought I was going to really like this season because it had all the Bladers come back. But it just really felt like it was did it for the fan service, you know? Like, they just kind of didn't do anything. Like, they were strong, yeah, but like, Volt especially just did not do anything. Iger didn't do much. I would say Honcho did. Silas had that little moment where he wanted to beat Free. Shu, I mean, he helped Lane, but still, you know, I just found it. And Hikaru, especially Hyuga, was not the best protagonist. I thought the humor was really bad in this season. I mean, it was cool that we saw a bunch of Bladers come back. I didn't really like Lane. But yeah, I did like Honcho. I liked that Wakia was in it, even though I didn't really like him in this season. Let's see, what else can I say about this? Oh yeah, Dante was cool. I did like how Dante, I feel like Louis, this was one of his best seasons for the newer season Louis. Cause he had Dante with him, you know, it wasn't just him by himself on the mountain, it was for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, man, the battles were okay. They were pretty predictable, some of them. Like, I really got into when Free and Silas battled that one time, but I don't know, man. Hikaru and you were just kind of bland. They didn't get as much screen time, probably due to sharing the spotlight. I know you guys aren't going to agree with me on this. I know everyone was just so excited that their favorite Bladers were back. I was too, don't get me wrong, but it just fell a little flat. It was still great. It was still pretty good, though, you know? Let's get into number 5. Number 5, we have Beyblade Burst Rise. Now, Beyblade Burst Rise was awesome. It really surprised me, honestly, because when I watched it a little bit in Japanese, I skimmed it, and I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. It was awesome, man. I loved it at its time. The reason it plays so low is just, one, it's been so long since I watched it, I guess it didn't make such much of an impact on me. Number 2, I would say kind of preach the friendship thing a little too much in it, and I don't really care for that. It's not a big thing, it's just a little thing. And then Dante, he's kind of I don't know, man, he's kind of too much like Volt. Oh, speaking of Volt, Volt was really stupid in this season. Man, he did not need to be there. I know he was there for Delta, and it did kind of feel like they were kind of copy and paste characters of other characters. Delta is Shu, Dante is Volt, Armin, I guess, is kind of like Daigo or something. I mean, I would say Gwyn was a unique character, probably the best written character in the show. But Fumio was my favorite character, which is funny. But he didn't have much screen time. I mean, he had a lot of screen time, but not as much as I would have liked. I wish he was, with the main cast more. But, you know, it was still pretty solid. And it was the first 10-minute season, which was a very disappointment for me. Anyway, I was very disappointed about that, which maybe made it set lower. But, you know, it was still awesome. Next, we are moving on to number 4. This one might surprise you for how high it rated, because this one seems to get people out of the fandom. Besides Rise. Rise did that too. And that would have been Beyblade Burst Quad Strike. Quad Drive. Quad Strike, I'll have to do part 2 for that. Quad Drive. Right now, I am not actually finished with it yet, but I'm just so into it, man. I feel like I'm putting it too low. I found all the characters really likable. This is the first season where I actually like somewhat laughed at it. Like I laughed at it twice. Because Beyblade comedy is kind of horrible, but I actually laughed at it. So, like, I find every character likable. Like, even Rashad, which I said I didn't like in a previous video, but he's actually really cool, man. Bell is a little brat, but he's, like, awesome, too. Ilya's really funny and cool. Basara, I think, stole the show for me. He, I think, is the best. But, yeah, I would say, again, my problem is, like, the guys that come back just kind of don't do anything. They're kind of just there to be legends, strong players that you have to beat. I would really like to see, like, I know Volt gets development and stuff, but everyone else, they're just kind of, especially Shu, like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it was awesome. It was a unique format to the show, like the aerial tour especially is probably my favorite part right now. At first, it was kind of bland, but as it goes on, it gets better, I promise you guys. I can't wait to see the 3-on-3 battles in English. I am excited for that. Okay, let's move on. Next, number 3. This might surprise you. Beyblade Burst Turbo. This picture is sick. The nostalgia. I remember getting so excited for this season, man. Oh, man. It was epic. Turbo, so what should I say? The good or the bad? Number 3. You know, there's not really much. I'll start with the good. Okay, the story was awesome. This was the first time we saw new characters, and I think they did a really good job. I think they had really good characters. The battles were awesome. Fi was the best antagonist in the whole show, in my opinion. Suo, one of my favorite characters right there. We did get to see, like, Volt. This is the first time we had a time skip, which was really cool. The bays were probably some of the best bays. Like, I feel like the newer seasons, they're too overdone. Louis was kind of bland in the season and free. I'm trying to think what else. It was just awesome, man. Like, this was the peak of my Beyblade obsession, I guess you could say. Like, me and my brother back when he liked it. We got so into this season, man. But now, there was definitely more I could say, but I can't really think of anything. But the bad things I would have to say is just Iger. Like, right here we have, like, his dark form. Was not into that. I don't even really like Iger that much. I think if, like, they just kept Volt, or I would have liked it even better. But, you know, it was still very solid. Very good. But let's go to number 2. Number 2. Now, I really had to think about this. I mean, I had to really think about all of them. But in 2 and 1, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I decided that number 2 is the season number 2, which is Beyblade Burst Evolution. Which might surprise you guys. Beyblade Burst Evolution was awesome. It had a cool story with, like, Shu getting evil and stuff. And they had to find him. My only problem was the battles in the A and B block seemed very rushed. I mean, some of them were really epic, though. Like, Free versus Louis, I remember the hype of that. The bays were awesome. The characters were great. It was disappointing that, like, Zach didn't come back. You know, like, some of the characters, because I didn't understand that characters weren't going to come back. So I was like, okay, when's Zach coming back? But yeah, it was awesome. We had awesome new characters like Free. You know, why isn't this number 1? I'm trying to think of the down. Oh yeah, the downside was the rush battles. The fact that some characters didn't come back. It was just really great. Really great. Like, oh my gosh, it was good. I would say, like, that the first episodes were a little bland. Like, especially the very first episode. I did not like that episode. Where, like, Volt is exploring Spain. It's like, very nitpicky, you know. And then let's go to number 1. You guys already know what it is. It would be the original season. Why did I put this above God? Probably partially because of the nostalgia of it being the first season. This is what got me into Beyblade Burst, you know. The battles were really good and long. And what I did like about it is how down to earth they were. Like, they didn't have these... Okay, they had some weird moves that are unrealistic. But mostly they were just realistic Bey battles that, like, you could reenact at home. Without, like, these crazy shield moves and explosions, you know? like a crack in the stadium was big in this season. Like it was like little things that in real life could happen, which I liked. The characters were so likable, man. Like the whole Bay Club was awesome. And my favorite character, Wakia, had a lot of screen time there, so that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a little slow at times, but I think I like that more because you could get to learn to know the characters more. Like seriously, the whole show, even the side characters were awesome. The battles were awesome. Like I said, they were really slow, you know, so you can get more into it. I know some people probably don't like that factor, but I like that factor. I'm trying to think. My problem is that probably that I've watched the episodes, like I used to spam watching these too many times and it just got old. Like that is probably my biggest problem, that it's just old because I've watched them so many times. But yeah, I love it. I can't really think of any other downsides. But you guys tell me what you think. I know this is probably, you probably won't agree with me on a lot of this, and that's okay. I respect your opinion. If Surge is your favorite season, I'm not going to be hating about it because Surge is still awesome. It's just, I love all the seasons. And, like, I really could have put these, either, like, the top three, I could have mixed it up either way. Like, I just love all the seasons. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Dark Blades.